Across Africa, rivers and lakes are not just water. They are portals, gateways to the spirits, guardians of life and justice. Today, we dive into the sacred waters where ancient gods and spirits still dwell. As you stand at the banks of these rivers or gaze upon the shimmering lakes, it's easy to think you're simply seeing water. But beneath the surface, something deeper moves, something ancient, something that remembers. These waters are not just geography, they are memory. They carry stories whispered by ancestors, chants that echo through the trees, and spirits that never left. The rivers of Africa do not simply flow, they pulse. They hum with energy that cannot be explained away by currents and tides. They are living veins of the continent, connecting not just lands and villages, but generations. To stand near one is to feel the presence of those who came before, to hear the distant drumbeats of ceremonies long past, and to recognize that water here is not just a natural resource. It is a bridge between worlds. Lakes mirror the sky, but they also reflect something unseen, something waiting to be acknowledged. These are sacred spaces where every ripple tells a story. Every mist rising from the surface whispers a name. In these waters, the divine is not a concept. It is a presence. You can almost hear it if you're quiet enough. The laughter of spirits playing at dawn, the lament of ancestors carried on the wind. Communities across the continent have known this for millennia. They have built rituals around these waters, offered prayers and gifts, danced on their banks, and sung songs to honor the spirits that dwell within. To disrespect the river is to invite misfortune. To ignore the lake is to lose a connection to something larger than yourself. These waters are not owned, they are honored. Not controlled, but revered. Today, we invite you to journey beyond the surface, to dive into the hidden currents where gods and spirits still dwell, to witness the stories of the Wouri River, the secrets of Barombi Mbo, the blessings of the Osun, the whispers of Lake Victoria, and the roars of the Zambezi. This is not a simple exploration of Africa's waterways. It is an encounter with power, with history, and with the voices of the forgotten gods. These waters are calling. Can you hear them? In the bustling heart of Cameroon, where commerce intertwines with history, and the river winds like a lifeline through the city of Douala, there lies the Wouri River, a body of water so steeped in spiritual resonance that to look upon it is to see more than shimmering waves. This river is a realm of spirits, a place where water and the unseen intermingle, and where every ripple speaks of ancient ties between the people and the divine. The Wouri is no ordinary river. It flows with trade, yes, but also with prayers and ancestral songs. It has been the artery of commerce for centuries, bearing canoes laden with goods and stories alike. But those who navigate its waters know better than to think of it merely as a route for profit. For many, it is a living presence, a spiritual guardian that demands respect and reciprocity. Traditional belief holds that the Wouri is home to powerful water spirits, including some who manifest as Mami Wata, the legendary water deity whose beauty and danger have been the subjects of countless tales across the continent. Here, Mami Wata is not just an enchanting figure of lore, but a force that can shape destinies. Fishermen who cast their nets into the Wouri often begin with silent prayers, asking permission from the spirits below. They offer libations, sometimes a drop of palm wine, sometimes a few coins, not as superstition but as an acknowledgement of the river's sovereignty. Traders crossing its waters have been known to leave tokens at its banks, appealing to the unseen forces to bless their journeys and ensure their prosperity. These practices are not remnants of a forgotten past. In Douala, even amid the clamor of modernity, the cars, the markets, the neon lights, the old ways persist. Early in the morning, before the city fully awakens, elders can be seen at the river's edge, performing quiet rituals with whispered words and slow, deliberate movements. Fishermen will pause to touch the water before setting out, a silent pact with the spirits that guides them. Some recount seeing shimmering forms beneath the surface at dawn, or hearing faint melodies rising from the river on misty evenings. These experiences are not dismissed as mere illusions, but are embraced as evidence of the Wouri's living spirit. The Wouri River's spiritual depth is woven into the everyday life of Douala. It is said that those who disrespect the river, whether by polluting its waters, ignoring its rituals, or acting out of greed, may find themselves facing not only natural consequences but also the wrath of the river's guardians. Boats may capsize without warning, nets may return empty no matter the season, and sickness may settle upon the careless. The river, after all, is a living entity. It listens, it watches, and when balance is disturbed, it responds. These beliefs are not confined to the elderly or the deeply traditional. Even young fishermen who have grown up alongside smartphones and city noise often follow the old rituals. They may not speak of them openly, but in moments of doubt or danger, they turn to the river with offerings, hoping for mercy or favor. The narrative of the Wouri is not just one of caution and respect. It is also one of hope and renewal. During times of drought or hardship, communities along its banks gather to offer collective prayers, asking the spirits for rain and abundance. During festivals, dancers dressed in colors that evoke water and sky perform at the river's edge, invoking blessings not just for themselves, but for all who depend on the river's flow. The Wouri is both a provider and a protector, a force that binds the people of Douala to their land and their past. Its waters have witnessed centuries of change, from the rise and fall of kingdoms to the coming of colonizers and the expansion of trade routes. Yet its essence remains untamed and revered. In the heart of Cameroon, the Wouri doesn't just carry trade. It carries voices, prayers, songs, and the whispers of the spirits beneath. These are not the echoes of a forgotten past, but the living, breathing presence of a river that continues to shape the lives and souls of those who dare to listen. As we move forward in this journey through Africa's sacred waters, let us remember that rivers like the Wouri are more than geography. They are memory, they are power, and they are alive. In the heart of Cameroon, surrounded by thick forest and the rhythmic hum of insects, lies a place of crystalline serenity, Lake Barombi Mbo. This ancient crater lake, its waters clear as glass, mirrors the sky so perfectly that it feels as though one might step across its surface into another world. Barombi Mbo is not merely a geographical wonder. It is a sacred space steeped in legend, whispered about by the elders of Barombi village, and revered by those who have lived in its shadow for generations. The lake is home to rare species of fish, found nowhere else on Earth, a testament to its untouched purity, but it is also said to be guarded by a powerful spirit. This guardian watches over the lake, ensuring that its pristine waters remain unspoiled and that the balance between humanity and nature is upheld. Those who fail to honor the lake's spirit risk more than ecological harm. They risk invoking the wrath of an ancient protector. The people of Barombi village know this well. They speak of quiet rituals performed at dawn, when the mist drapes itself over the water like a veil, concealing and revealing at once. Offerings of kola nuts, palm wine, and whispered prayers are given to appease the spirit, to ensure that the lake continues to provide, to reflect, and to bless. These are not just old customs, they are living traditions. enacted not out of habit but out of reverence. The villagers understand that the lake is not simply a body of water, it is a sacred presence, a breathing entity that observes and reacts to the world around it. Fishermen tread lightly, speaking softly for fear of disturbing the spirit that lies beneath the shimmering surface. The legends of Barombi Mbo tell of times when disrespect led to disaster. One story recalls a group of outsiders who, mocking the local customs, polluted the lake and laughed off the warnings of the elders. Within days, the fish vanished, and the water, once so clear, turned dark and lifeless. Only after rituals of deep apology, offerings of precious goods, and community prayers did the lake's vitality return. These tales are not merely moral warnings, they are expressions of a deep belief in the interconnectedness of nature, spirit, and human action. To the people of Barombi, the lake is both a source of life and a reflection of their own integrity. The spiritual relationship with Lake Barombi Mbo extends beyond fear of punishment. It is also about balance and protection. During times of hardship, whether a poor harvest, sickness, or social unrest, the villagers turn to the lake for guidance and solace. They gather in communal prayer, perform rituals along its banks, and seek signs in the ripples of the water. The lake's stillness is not silence, but a profound depth of presence. It is said that on certain nights, when the moon is full and the air thick with humidity, one can hear faint songs rising from beneath the water's surface, the voice of the guardian spirit, reminding the living of their obligations and the lake's enduring power. What makes Barombi Mbo so unique is not just its natural beauty or the rarity of its aquatic life, but the unwavering respect it commands from those who know its history. Unlike other lakes that have been overtaken by modern development or stripped of their spiritual significance, Barombi Mbo remains a place where the old ways are honored. The villagers understand that their well-being is tied to the lake's health and, by extension, to the respect they show the unseen forces that dwell within it. Children are taught from an early age to greet the lake with quiet reverence, to offer thanks for its gifts, and to never take more than is needed. In recent years, as stories of environmental destruction and cultural erasure have grown more common, Barombi Mbo stands as a testament to resilience, both of nature and of tradition. Its clear waters reflect not just the sky, but a way of life where harmony with the spiritual and natural world is paramount. This is not nostalgia, it is survival. The lake's guardian, whether imagined or real, serves as a constant reminder that balance must be maintained, that respect is not optional, and that the spirit of a place is as vital as its physical form. They say Barombi Mbo holds secrets beneath its calm surface, secrets of protection and power. As we continue our journey through Africa's sacred waters, we must remember that these are not just stories, they are calls to action, to remembrance, and to respect. The spirit of Barombi Mbo watches still, and its lessons are as clear and profound as the waters themselves. The journey through Africa's sacred waters now takes us to the Osun River in Nigeria, a place not just revered for its flowing beauty, but for the powerful spirit that inhabits it. This river is not merely a body of water, it is Osun herself, the Yoruba goddess of love, fertility, diplomacy, and healing. For centuries, the Osun River has been the lifeline of the Yoruba people, flowing gently through the sacred Osun-Osogbo Grove, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where nature and divinity intertwine. Osun is said to dwell within its golden waters, her presence felt in every ripple, her blessings poured upon those who approach her with humility and respect. The river is a living embodiment of grace and strength, a testament to the unbroken bond between the Yoruba people and their deities. Each year, thousands gather along the river's banks during the Osun Osogbo festival, an event that is not just a celebration but a spiritual communion. Devotees dressed in white garments wade into the waters, carrying offerings of honey, kola nuts, and prayers. Drums echo through the trees, songs rise to the heavens, and the air vibrates with a palpable sense of reverence. The sculptures within the grove, each one a tribute to Osun's power, stand as silent witnesses to rituals performed in honor of the river's goddess. The river itself becomes a flowing altar carrying prayers downstream, connecting generations past, present, and future. Here, the line between the physical and spiritual world blurs, and those who listen closely can feel Osun's presence, her whisper promising love, healing, and justice. Osun's justice, however, is not blind. While she is known for her generosity and kindness, she is also a guardian of balance. Her waters are as capable of bringing prosperity as they are of washing away corruption. Tales abound of those who disrespected the river or the goddess herself, only to face misfortune until reparations were made. Farmers who stole from the river's offerings saw their crops wither. Leaders who ignored the sacred laws found their influence diminished. But those who honored Osun with sincerity found themselves blessed with abundance, fertility, and peace. This dynamic balance, where blessing and warning intertwine, makes the Osun River a force of divine accountability, a constant reminder that justice flows as surely as water. The Osun River's significance extends beyond its role in traditional Yoruba spirituality. It has become a symbol of cultural resilience, especially in times of social and political upheaval. As modern Nigeria has grappled with environmental challenges, corruption, and conflict, the river's symbolism has endured. It stands as a testament to the enduring power of cultural identity and spiritual connection. For many, visiting the Osun Osogbo Grove is not merely a religious act but a reclaiming of heritage. The grove itself is meticulously protected, a lush sanctuary where ancient trees twist into the sky, where sacred sculptures stand as sentinels of history and spirit. The community around it ensures that the old ways are remembered, that the stories of Osun's blessings and warnings are passed down to each new generation. What makes the Osun River especially captivating is its ability to adapt and remain relevant. In the diaspora, Osun's name has crossed oceans, taking root in traditions like Santeria, Candomblé, and other Afro-diasporic religions. There, she is still called upon as a source of love, fertility, and power. Her river may be in Nigeria, but her spirit flows wherever her name is spoken with reverence. Artists, activists, and spiritual seekers alike find inspiration in Osun's story, seeing in her a symbol of divine femininity, of resilience in the face of oppression, and of justice that is as gentle as a stream and as forceful as a flood. The Osun River is not merely a reminder of the past. It is a living, breathing testament to the sacredness of water and the enduring power of faith. In its golden reflections, one can see not just the beauty of the present, but the continuity of tradition, the strength of community, and the promise of renewal. For those who stand at its banks, listening to the water's gentle song, there is a sense that Osun herself is near, offering blessings to those who honor her and warnings to those who forget the sacred balance she guards. Osun's river isn't just a river, it's a goddess flowing with blessings and warnings alike. It is a call to remember that justice, love, and truth are not abstract ideals, but living forces that move through the world as surely as water moves downstream. In this sacred flow, the Yoruba people and all who listen find not just stories of the past, but guidance for the present and hope for the future. From the golden ripples of the Osun River, our journey continues eastward to the mighty expanse of Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake and a body of water shrouded in both natural majesty and spiritual lore. Spanning the borders of Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, Lake Victoria is a lifeline for millions. Yet its surface conceals far more than the fish and livelihoods it sustains. It is said that beneath its vast, shimmering waters dwell spirits older than memory, guardians of the lake, capricious and powerful. In Uganda, stories speak of Nabamba Budhaga, a revered water spirit whose influence is still felt along the shores. Locals tell tales of boats that vanish without warning, of storms rising from a clear sky, and of fishermen who, after disrespecting the lake's sacred boundaries, return with empty nets, or not at all. For centuries, communities surrounding Lake Victoria have understood its dual nature, a giver of life and a taker when disrespected. The lake is seen not merely as a resource, but as a living entity, one that listens and responds. Fishermen often perform rituals before embarking on their journeys, offering small tokens, palm wine, tobacco, or even whispered prayers to appease the spirits believed to inhabit its depths. These offerings are not relics of superstition but acts of reverence, acknowledgments of the lake's unseen authority. In times of trouble such as poor harvests or sudden storms, villagers gather at the water's edge, seeking forgiveness or guidance. The lake, they believe, does not just sustain them materially. It is a spiritual compass, a mirror of communal balance. The legends surrounding Lake Victoria are not confined to a single culture or time period. Across its shores, different groups tell similar stories of mysterious disappearances, of warnings delivered through dreams, of illnesses that vanish only after offerings are made. Some say the lake's spirits can become angered by environmental degradation, overfishing, pollution, and the destruction of sacred sites. When the balance is disturbed, the lake is said to withhold its bounty, to call forth storms, or to send warnings through inexplicable events. These stories serve as more than folklore. They are urgent reminders of the consequences of disrespect, of the necessity to maintain harmony with both nature and spirit. The spiritual significance of Lake Victoria extends beyond its surface. Its very existence is woven into the identities of the people who live around it. Songs are sung in its honor, dances mimic the flow of its waves, and children are taught from a young age to treat the water with reverence. In times of celebration, such as weddings or community milestones, the lake becomes a stage for rituals meant to ensure blessings for the future. In times of grief, the lake is approached with offerings, seeking peace for departed souls. The line between the physical and the spiritual is not just blurred here, it is one and the same. Lake Victoria's expanse is also a place of deep mystery. Its depths are said to be home to unseen beings, spirits that can manifest in human or animal form, and whose moods dictate the fortunes of those who depend on its waters. Some fishermen claim to have seen shimmering figures in the distance, or to have heard voices calling out from the lake in the early hours of dawn. These encounters are not dismissed as mere hallucinations, but are accepted as signs, messages from the spiritual realm. For many, to ignore these signs is to invite misfortune. To heed them is to live in alignment with the unseen order of things. The cultural reverence for Lake Victoria is paralleled by a growing awareness of the need to protect it from environmental harm. As modern pressures mount, pollution from industry, deforestation, climate change, activists and elders alike invoke the old stories, reminding communities that the lake's health is not just an ecological concern, but a spiritual one. They speak of the lake's spirits as allies in the fight to preserve its waters, to restore balance, and to ensure that future generations can continue to draw life from its depths. The belief that the lake's guardians will respond to both reverence and neglect adds a powerful dimension to conservation efforts, turning environmental activism into a spiritual duty. They say the lake's spirits decide who crosses safely and who doesn't. This phrase, passed down through generations, encapsulates the profound respect and caution with which Lake Victoria is approached. It is a reminder that beneath the lake's glittering surface lies a force that cannot be measured or controlled, a presence that demands recognition and respect. For those who live around its shores, the lake is not just a body of water. It is a living entity, a sacred being that reflects both human virtue and folly. As we continue our journey through Africa's sacred waters, we are reminded that in places like Lake Victoria, the boundary between the visible and the invisible is not a line, but a flowing, ever-changing current. And those who dare to ignore it do so at their peril. Our journey through Africa's sacred waters now leads us south to one of the continent's most majestic and spiritually charged rivers, the Zambezi. Stretching across 6 countries and serving as the lifeblood of southern Africa, the Zambezi is more than just a river. It is a sacred force, a conduit of life, and a realm of divine presence. Its waters churn with power, feeding vast ecosystems and supporting millions. Yet it is its spiritual significance that truly sets it apart. For the Tonga people who have lived along its banks for generations, the Zambezi is home to Nyaminyami, the river god depicted as a mighty serpent or dragon. Nyaminyami is not a distant or silent deity. He is said to live within the river's depths, controlling its flow, its floods, and the very fortunes of those who depend on it. To look upon the Zambezi's broad, swirling surface is to feel the gaze of a god, one whose moods can shape the destiny of entire communities. The power of the Zambezi is most dramatically embodied at Victoria Falls, known locally as Mosi Oatunya, or the smoke that thunders. Here, the river plunges over a precipice, creating a roaring spectacle of mist and sound that has awed travelers and locals alike for centuries. But for the Tonga, this is not merely a natural wonder. It is the voice of Nyaminyami, speaking to the living through water and air. During times of drought or hardship, elders would gather at the river's edge, offering sacrifices and prayers, seeking the god's favor. They believed that when balance was lost, through greed, disrespect, or the violation of sacred laws, Nyaminyami would respond with floods, storms, or the withdrawal of the river's bounty. The construction of the Kariba Dam in the mid-20th century is said to have angered Nyaminyami, separating him from his wife and disturbing the river's natural and spiritual balance. Stories tell of how the dam's construction faced relentless setbacks, floods, and misfortunes which many attributed to the river god's wrath. Nyaminyami is not merely a punisher, though. He is also a protector and provider, believed to guide and watch over those who live in harmony with the river. Fishermen and villagers speak of dreams in which the god appears, warning of coming dangers or offering blessings. Rituals are performed in his honor, from small offerings of food and drink left by the water's edge to larger communal ceremonies aimed at restoring balance and harmony. In these moments, the river becomes more than a natural feature. It transforms into a sacred space, a meeting point between the physical and spiritual realms. The crocodiles that glide through the Zambezi's waters are also seen as manifestations of the river's guardianship. Feared and respected, these creatures are viewed not merely as animals, but as extensions of the river's will. To encounter a crocodile on the riverbank is to come face to face with the embodiment of both danger and protection. In local lore, crocodiles are messengers of Nyame, enforcers of his justice. Stories tell of those who have disrespected the river's boundaries or its spiritual codes, only to meet a fate delivered by these silent, powerful beings. Yet, just as the river can be a source of fear, it is also a wellspring of hope. In times of need, when prayers are made with sincerity and rituals observed with care, the river has been known to respond with abundance, rains returning, fish appearing, crops flourishing. The Zambezi's spiritual depth is not confined to traditional beliefs alone. Even today, as modern life presses in with its dams, industries, and urban growth, many continue to recognize the river's power. Conservationists, spiritual leaders, and elders speak of the importance of respecting the Zambezi, not just for its ecological significance, but for its spiritual vitality. They warn that when the river's balance is disturbed, the consequences are felt not just in lost resources, but in disrupted communities and natural disasters. The lessons of Nyame are thus carried forward, serving as both a caution and a call to action. They remind us that the river is not simply to be used, but to be honored, that it is a living entity with a voice that must be heard. The Zambezi doesn't just roar, it sings with the voice of a god. To stand by its banks, to hear its thunder, is to be reminded of forces older and greater than ourselves. The river's breadth and depth are a reflection of the cosmic balance it upholds, a balance that, when maintained, brings life and prosperity, but when broken, demands reckoning. As we conclude our journey through Africa's sacred waters, we find in the Zambezi not just a river, but a profound symbol of the continent's spiritual heritage. It is a reminder that justice, balance, and respect for the natural and unseen worlds are not mere ideals, but necessities for survival and harmony. The story of the Zambezi, of Nyame and his crocodile guardians, is not a relic of the past. It is a living narrative as vital and powerful as the river itself. But these waters are more than myth. They are life itself. They remind us that water is sacred, that ancestors still speak through rivers and lakes, and that balance is not just in the skies, but in every drop. Across the vastness of Africa, from the banks of the Wouri to the roaring surge of the Zambezi, water connects everything, past and present, life and spirit, survival and justice. These rivers and lakes have witnessed empires rise and fall, have seen human triumphs and failures, and have absorbed prayers whispered by countless generations. And though the world has changed, with concrete dams, polluted streams, and forgotten rituals, the waters still hold their secrets. They still remember. In the silence of a misty morning by the Barombi Mbo, or in the thundering spray of Victoria Falls, the air hums with something more than wind or water. It hums with memory. It hums with the voices of those who once danced on the banks, who offered thanks to the river spirits, who lived in harmony with forces greater than themselves. When we stand by these waters today, we are not just tourists or passers-by. We are witnesses to a legacy that calls upon us to remember that the natural world is not separate from us, but is our partner, our teacher, our reflection. Perhaps we no longer hear thunder as a warning. Perhaps we no longer see drought as a sign. Perhaps we dismiss storms and strange winds as mere weather. But the spirits remember. The ancestors remember. And when we lose our way, when we pollute and plunder, when we silence the sacred, the rivers and lakes do not forget. They react. They shift. They send warnings through rising waters, through vanishing fish, through crops that fail to grow. The spirits' voices may be softer now, drowned out by machines and noise, but they are still there waiting for us to listen. So as we reflect on these sacred waters, let us not think of them as relics of the past. They are living, breathing entities that hold stories, lessons, and power. They connect us to each other, to our ancestors, and to the earth itself. They remind us that justice is not a human invention. It is a cosmic principle flowing through rivers, carried by the wind, whispered through leaves. In every call for justice, in every uprising, every whispered prayer for revenge, the echoes of these waters remain. Africa didn't forget them, we silenced them, but the waters are still singing. The spirits are still listening, and balance, though broken, waits to be restored. Across Africa, water is more than a resource. It's memory, power, spirit. It carries the voices of ancestors, the songs of forgotten gods, the whispers of balance and justice. These rivers and lakes are not mere landscapes or backdrops. They are living testaments to Africa's enduring relationship with the divine. As long as the rivers flow and lakes shimmer in the moonlight, their gods and guardians will never be forgotten. They remain present, watching, waiting, guiding. They remind us that we are not separate from the natural world, but part of it, woven into a vast, unseen web of spirit and substance. In every droplet that falls, in every wave that crashes, they call us back to remembrance. So I lift my voice now in a prayer for you, the listener, the witness. May the spirit of Wouri guide your journey with wisdom, bringing clarity and direction in times of doubt. May the guardian of Barombi Mbo watch over your dreams, protecting them from disruption and bringing peace to your heart. May Osun's river bless you with love, fertility of ideas, and the grace to navigate life's waters with dignity and strength. May the spirits of Lake Victoria protect you as you move through the uncertainties of life, ensuring your safe passage and the fulfillment of your deepest hopes. And may the mighty Nyamanyami of the Zambezi stand as your shield and strength, teaching you resilience in the face of challenge and the courage to fight for balance and truth. These blessings are not just ancient words. They are living currents of power flowing through time and space, reaching you wherever you are. If you feel the call of the water spirits, share this story with your tribe. Let the currents of these sacred tales ripple out into the world, connecting hearts and reviving memory. Like this video not for numbers, but as a gesture, a digital libation poured to honor those divine forces who once kept our balance. Comment below, which African river or lake do you feel holds the strongest magic? Share with us your stories, your connections, your dreams. Subscribe to History Store, not just to consume content, but to stand with us in keeping these histories alive, vibrant, and honored. And finally, thank you. Thank you for spending your time, your attention, and your spirit with us on this journey through Africa's sacred waters. Together we have remembered the gods of rivers and lakes, listened to their stories, and felt their presence. May you carry their lessons with you, always,